right. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll have Coach Tadlock today, followed by Cal Conley and Patrick Monteverde.
Boom.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. I'll call on you and we'll do one question at a time. Okay, and the first question we have is from Carlos. Carlos, go ahead.
Coach, you couldn't have asked for better out of Patrick. I guess what was working? It seemed like his changeup was really kind of fooling some guys, especially on those strikeout pitches there.
Yeah, it all starts with establishing a fastball, and changeup was good. Breaking ball was good.
Okay, we'll go to Eric Kelly.
Another day where your lineup puts up decent amount of run support, but they did it in a different way than yesterday. What through these two games have you liked about the way that you guys have approached hitting?
Guys are trying to do a good job moving on the right pitch and staying in the middle of the field for the most part. We've probably got away from that a little bit. Ballpark played a little tougher today. I think we didn't have much to show for what, the plate appearances we had early. Got stuck with it for the most part. And offense is about, guys winning pitches, and guys, sometimes the guy wins a bunch of pitches, sets it up for the guys behind them, and guys competed today.
Okay, we'll go to Carlos.
Coach, I know everyone will focus on the runs that you put up and Patrick and his pitching, but can you speak to Kurt and being able to get on with that 10-pitch at bat where he walked, and then that really set up Nate and kind of set up that 3-run inning for you there in the fourth?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when the question about offense was brought up, and just looked down at the box score and saw Kurt really didn't have much to show for that at bat, but he does a pretty good job for the most part, competing pitch to pitch. He had a couple that I think he'd like to finish off that bat. But again, it's early, and he competed well within that one at bat. Y'all get used to the Zooms yet? Me either.
Carlos, go ahead.
Just along those lines, Coach, I guess in terms of Patrick, just for him being able to kind of be locked in so well, how much did that help the offense not necessarily have to feel like it was getting pressured, so to speak, to score runs? It was just kind of like you said, looking for the pitch to hit, and it seemed like Nate was able to do that, and you had some other guys as well today.
Yeah, and hopefully in the future we can do that. We can help him on the other side of it, give him a little margin for error, and he'll go out and be aggressive. And but he did a good job, really, holding the door till the guys could get some runs across.
Okay, we'll go to Keith.
Coach, I have a couple of stars in my book defensively for you guys today. You had Stillwell as well back there catching for the first time since the Big 12 tournament in 2019. So how'd you feel how things went defensively and in an error-free day?
I think his legs got a little tired. That's the first 9-inning game, you're right, that he's caught in a while. And probably need to amp up his conditioning a little bit. And guys came out and did, a good job preparing before the game, and practice with some intent. And, really you can control your preparation each day, the way you go about what you're doing. And for the most part, we did that. We can always get a little bit better.
Okay, we'll go to Eric.
Coach, on Patrick, this is now his second good start out of 2 of the season. Is there any area that maybe he's even surprised you in maybe doing better than you thought you'd see from him this early in the season?
No, I wouldn't say surprised us. Again, there's not a lot of information on these guys with the shutdown last year and the summer ball situation this past summer. And I'll tell you this, the 2 guys we've ran out there so far do a really good job day to day and week to week and preparing. And I don't think they take a day for granted. I don't think a lot of these kids do anymore because they've had it taken away from them one time. And guys are enjoying the process, if you want to call it. And the preparation and getting ready to play.
Okay, do we have anything else for Coach? Oh,
I have one more. Thank you, Ty. Sorry, my hand raise isn't working. Coach, what was the conversation with Nate there on that reversal on the pickoff? Those of us with screens were a little surprised to see the challenge. What did you guys talk about when he came in?
Yeah, I was not real happy. He got flat-footed, and his eyes, I think his eyes were up, but he was flat-footed. It was a good pickoff move, but he immediately said he didn't touch him. He didn't tag him. So you immediately say, okay, hey, let's review it. We don't have like what you see in the big leagues. We don't have the camera and go look at it. I mean, and a lot of these umpires, I mean, they're really good, and the ball did beat him by a good bit. And so I wasn't gonna ask. And then when he said he didn't touch him, I was like, okay, let's ask.
Okay, anything else for Coach? All right, thank you,
Okay.
Coach.
Zoom.
We'll be back in just a moment with student athlete.
Yeah, you can have that word. All right, thank you. All right, I'm out.
All right, so we'll take questions for Cal. And the first one comes from Eric Kelly. Go ahead, Eric.
Now, prior to game one, Coach had talked about how you didn't really get much in terms of that game prep at practice just because of dealing with an injury. How have you been able to catch up so quickly and look pretty smooth and confident at the plate, even though you didn't get those reps early on?
I mean, early on after the injury, I had to take a couple weeks off of hitting, obviously, and then Coach Gardner, me and him got together, and he started actually backing up during batting practice when we were in the cages, and he started throwing to me as he was pitching, and he threw three pitch mix, and we did that a lot. And then I sat on machine a lot just to see the velocity and some of the spin that I'd maybe see in the game, and that's kind of really what's kept my head above water the last few weeks, timing wise, is to just see pitches and try to get my timing back without really swinging.
Hey, Carlos.
Cal, when you look at what you were able to do today, how important was it for y'all to kind of know that you didn't have to press because of the way Patrick was pitching?
Oh, I mean, when you got a pitcher like that that's just dominating, you know he's rolling. I mean, it takes so much pressure off the bats. I mean, you know you got to scratch a few runs, but as soon as we went up 3 runs, I mean, we all knew as a group that we won that game. I mean, Pat, he had a 3-pitch mix today, sometimes 4-pitch. I mean, all for strikes, and he was completely on today, and it really showed.
Okay, we'll go to Eric.
Now, what has this lineup been able to show, not only this weekend, but last weekend, in terms of your guys' ability to score runs in multiple ways, whether it's stringing hits together or just launching one out of the park? And when one isn't going, the other one can kind of step up and be your way of scoring runs.
You know, our lineup's pretty awesome to be a part of. We got guys that can bang it. We got guys that can bunt, run, steal. I mean, most of the time, I mean, when I'm up, I mean, most of the time there's guys on, so there's more holes on the field, so it makes it a little easier to hit. Maybe rollover gets through that wouldn't with no one on. I mean, it's pretty fun offense to be a part of.
All right, Carlos.
Cal, I know you spoke about it a little bit, but just in terms of the injury, I guess what was the most difficult part about kind of dealing with it, and when did it happen? And I guess did you feel like you were going to be able to come back, and how difficult was it when it did happen, and the process for you to even get back here?
I mean, it was a minor hand injury that I had to get a surgery on, so the time frame was 4 to 6 weeks. In my head, I was going to be back in 3, and whether or not, I mean, Coach Tadlock wanted me to be careful, and I still was. I didn't rush it or anything, but I mean, the biggest part that I struggled with was just sitting there. I hate sitting. I've already sat a year due to the transfer, so I was just eager to get back to playing and just being along team with my teammates.
Okay, we'll go to Phil.
Cal, you had the injury and then and started the season at third. How comfortable are you feeling out there at short right now?
I feel pretty good at short. I mean, there's always some balls that can kind of get you off balance or your feet a little messed up. But I mean, reps, Coach Tadlock and J. Bob Gardner, everybody. I mean, we get a lot of reps around here, so that definitely makes it a lot easier. And then during my injury, I got to play defense still, so I kind of kept my timing there throughout my injury.
Okay, we'll go to Carlos.
Last one from me, Cal. In terms of what you had to go through, and I guess just obviously getting back to the field, what was there a play or something that made you feel like, okay, I'm back, or did it just kind of feel like getting back on a bike for you?
I mean, I'd say opening night against Arkansas, that first at bat. I mean, that first at bat for everybody at the beginning of the season, you're kind of blacked out. You don't really remember it, but my adrenaline was running, and just to see a line drive up the middle on my first at bat, I mean, that really kind of felt like I was back where I left off. So that was a confidence boost for me to just be fortunate to get a good pitch to hit and hit it right back up the middle.
Okay, we've got time for maybe two more with Cal, and we'll go to Phil next.
Cal, going back to that first series in Arlington, do you feel like that the weather and the time off that it might have caused, do you think that had an effect on how you guys played, maybe made it a little more difficult to get into the swing of things in that first series?
I mean, yeah, it's early on. I mean, our team's we're not a finished product yet. So some teams, we're a pretty new lineup. So we're all getting used to each other, getting used to playing with each other. I wouldn't really use that as an excuse for how we played. But, I mean, we're all trying to figure it out and figure out our lineup, where we're all going to play, and figure out the best team that we put on the field so we can win.
Okay, we'll take our last one from Eric.
It's curious, coming off of that first series, as a team, was there someone who, was kind of the voice in the room who said, hey, we're fine, we're good? I mean, first series of the season, or were you guys pretty good about just knowing, hey, we got to put our heads down and get back at it?
See, I mean, our team, we got a lot of older guys, older pitchers that have been there, like Connor Queen, and hitters like Noisy and Baker, all the guys around us. I mean, we all just try to stay positive. There's not too much negative talk going on. I mean, it's opening weekend, and we obviously didn't play how we wanted to, but sometimes that's the way baseball goes, and you don't get everything you want in this game. We were just ready to get back here and get back to work.
Okay, that'll do it for Cal Conley, and we'll have Patrick on here in just a moment.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start with questions for Patrick, and the first one from Eric.
Pat, what was going well for you on the mound today, and at what point did you kind of feel that you were in a groove?
I say my changeup definitely was my best pitch today. It normally is. Last week I didn't have it, and this past week in preparation we threw it a whole bunch, and that was kind of the plan of attack going into today. I knew if I executed that, defense was going to do their job and the offense is going to take care of business.
Okay, we'll go to Carlos next.
Along those lines, Patrick, I know you were pitching very well today. When you saw that 3-spot put up, how important was that for you, or were you just even focused just more on pitching, or did the 3 runs kind of affect anything for you?
No, the runs don't really affect much for me. In my head, it's always a 0-0 game, and my job is just to throw strikes and let the defense make plays behind me.
Okay, we'll go next to Phil.
Patrick, transferring up to this level from Seton Hill, how much did it help to have your first start come against a team as good as Arkansas to get a feel for things?
I'd say it helped. A lot of people don't give the PSAC enough credit. There's some dudes in that conference. The competition was pretty good, and we had a kid transfer from Coastal Carolina, and I remember was about 2 days before I got on my flight down here. He told me, the jump isn't as big as you think it is, coming from Seton Hill and the PSAC. And my confidence is kind of unshaken. So I knew if I was going to throw strikes, I can compete with the best.
Okay, we'll go to Keith and then Eric.
Patrick, you mentioned having the defense make plays behind you. So you retired them in order 6 out of 7 innings today, but that was with the help of that defense. What does it mean to have those guys back there? And what is the trust level right now as you're getting to know each other?
I mean, the trust level is extremely high. We've been on the field together, I believe, since the first weekend of September, inter-squatting and getting used to each other. We're a very tight group, even through COVID. Through and through, we're a good bunch together on and off the field, and there's a lot of trust.
Yeah, Patrick, in terms of when you're in a groove like you were today, is it after a couple pitches you kind of know, yeah, this is gonna be a good day, or is it a couple innings in when you kind of hit that groove?
Honestly, I feel right when I get to the ballpark. I'm not the most talented pitcher, but I think I'm the most confident in myself and my abilities. I probably make some stuff up in my head just to give myself that false sense of confidence. But I knew, my pregame bullpen was pretty good. I take pride in my warm-up and my preparation throughout the week. And I knew if I dominated that, today was going to be a good day if I executed my pitches.
Okay, we'll go to Carlos and then Phil.
Patrick, I know everyone's going to be talking about the jump, so to speak, from Seton Hill to Texas Tech. I guess for me, my question is, what led you to Texas Tech? What really kind of stood out to you about the Red Raiders, and how did it kind of all work out with kind of the craziness that's happened the last year or so?
Yeah, when I entered the portal, a couple big name schools reached out, and Texas Tech wasn't really on my radar. I didn't think they would offer me. But the 43 offers I had, J-Bob really stood out as far as the relationship that he built with me from the first phone call. And that was the difference maker. I've been through 3 schools now. I kind of know what to look for when I choose a school, and, the eyewash stuff that coaches couldn't wow you with. I didn't really let that get to me. And the relationship that not only J-Bob built, but Coach Gardner and Coach Tadlock and Joe as well, it was unmatched. It was an easy decision.
Patrick, did you have a favorite big league pitcher growing up, or someone you maybe modeled your game after?
I never really modeled my game after anybody. I'd say my favorite pitcher growing up, I'm from Pittsburgh, so I'm trying to think some of the older Pirates back in the day, but I love watching Garrett Cole when I was growing up in high school, but obviously we're 2 completely different pitchers.
Zach Duke or Paul Maholm, maybe?
Yeah, Paul Maholm when he wasn't getting hit hard.
All right, I've got time for maybe one more with Patrick. Okay, if we have no more questions, then that'll do it for today. Oh, do we have one more, Carlos? Okay, go ahead. You raised your hand. Okay, Carlos, you're
Goodbye.
okay. Then that'll do it for today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Patrick, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, guys.